Hi, I'm David. Welcome to my channel, My Yard Sale. Hey, today I want to talk about how I changed my diet and how it pretty much wrecked my health. And the purpose for this particular post is that hopefully people that may end up being in the same situation, they'll recognize some of the things that I experienced and make changes and not make bad decisions like I did. So I want to talk about how I changed my diet and pretty much wrecked my health. And I'm still recovering from this. I'm trying to figure this out. So, probably about, I don't know, 5 years ago, 8 years ago, I realized that I was having some health issues. And I finally realized that they might have been diet related. I had no idea. I never worried about diet before. I was always a thin guy, which now I'm realizing I was insulin resistant. But I was always a thin guy. I would eat pretty much whatever I wanted. I didn't gain a lot of weight. I didn't lose too much weight. And then all of a sudden I started losing a lot of weight. And it was concerning. So I had to start figuring out what was possibly the problem. I bought a laundry list of um, supplements from Amazon that I was trying and trying to figure stuff out. And, none of it worked. Like it wasn't the supplements, it was my health and what I was eating. So I don't know. Years ago, I was actually feeling pretty good, and back then, what I was eating is I was eating a pretty major amount of ground beef, beans, and some mixed frozen vegetables. That was my main diet, and I actually was feeling pretty good at that point. It felt good, and somehow I got caught up trying to figure all this stuff out. I got caught up trying to figure out saturated fat and how saturated fat might have been not doing me well, which now I'm realizing it wasn't the saturated fat, it was the treats that I was still sneaking, the Pop Tarts and the crap that I was still sneaking and thinking that I was doing myself a favor by eating, how I was eating and that it was going to work out and be, it was going to work out and I was going to continue getting healthier. So I was eating mainly ground beef, frozen vegetables, and beans. And I was actually feeling pretty good. I was getting around pretty good. And then, like I said, I was doing all this research and looking into stuff. I was drinking like full glasses of salt water, which is not a good idea. I'm just saying it's not a good idea. Um, I was trying all this stuff and checking things out. And then I came across these posts about how bad saturated fats are, which I'm not going to say that saturated fats are good or bad. I don't know. I'm not a healthcare specialist. I'm not really that smart when it comes to health. But I was eating ground beef, frozen vegetables, and beans, and I was actually feeling pretty good. I took the ground beef out because I got sidetracked with health by this saturated fat cycle of BS, which I may not be BS, but it wasn't a good thing for me to follow because as I took the ground beef and some of that stuff out, I started adding in a lot of other stuff. I started adding in obviously all the sugars and carbs. I started adding in um, oatmeal. I started adding in stuff that what I know now is not healthy. And as I was adding all that stuff in, my health just continually deteriorated. And I'm to a point now where I've been using whey protein, I've been using protein shakes, and I do still eat some ground beef. I eat some meat. I eat some saturated fats. I mean, I'm not afraid of saturated fats anymore. I'm just going to say that. But as I moved away from ground beef, and I'm not going to call it carnivore, it was mostly ketovore because I was eating also, like I said, frozen vegetables, and beans. But as I moved away from that, my health just continually deteriorated all the way up until now. And actually, even a couple weeks ago, I had been eating just beef patties and just beef patties for the most part. And I was actually feeling very good for a bit. And then the more that I changed my diet and added in other stuff besides just carnivore and meat, it my health did not do better. My health deteriorated, and now I'm to a point where I'm trying to get all that extra garbage out of my diet, the protein shakes, everything except for beef and meat. I'm eating some luncheon meat, some deli meats. I'm eating hot dogs. I'm trying to stick back to that carnivore diet that I felt healthy with, I don't know, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and get away from all this other stuff. The interesting thing that I'm finding is when I'm sticking to meat, mostly, I stay focused on meat and I eat meat and I feel full, I feel good, I'm not hungry, I feel well, and my body does start getting a little bit better. And then I give myself a break. I eat some cookies, I eat a Pop Tart, I eat stuff that we already all know that we shouldn't be eating, but I do give myself a break. And then next thing you know, I'm eating not a Pop Tart, but I'm eating a Pop Tart a day or a week. I'm eating a Pop Tart a morning. I'm eating all this other stuff that I know I shouldn't be eating. And as I start doing that, my my health slowly goes downhill to the point now where I'm at, and I'm just sharing this because I woke up this morning and I was like, what the heck? I need to share this, or hopefully I'll be able to get through to somebody that'll hear this and they'll associate with what I'm dealing with and make some changes so they don't have to deal with what I'm dealing with. I'm having a hard time getting around. My eyesight is not well again. My the neuropathy in my body is difficult. I'll just say it's not impossible, but it's difficult. And I'm focused on getting back to just meat and maybe keto at some point, but I've got to clean my diet up because trying to switch away or get pulled off of what I was eating before and actually starting to get healthy again sidetracked everything that I was focused on, and it did nothing but slowly deteriorate my health over the over a period of time. And I don't even know how long that is. Like, I don't know exactly when that started happening, but it's just slowly gotten worse. And the more that I stay away from meat, the harder it is for me to actually go in and cook some meat because it's difficult. Like, my hands don't work right, and it's pretty difficult to do it. Like, thank goodness I have hot dogs because I can stay pretty much carnivore eating hot dogs and try to stick to that diet. It makes it a little tiny bit easier. So I guess the point of this post is that carnivore and ketovore is the right way to eat, and getting sidetracked with all the tiny distractions that I don't even know who it is that does these distractions. It's probably the drug makers that just want everybody on drugs to try to work this stuff out. But staying focused on carnivore, ketovore, meat heavy ketovore will solve problems. That will help with a lot of health issues. And steering away from that, adding in anything else besides meat and maybe vegetables, I guess. Carnivore or ketovore. Like adding vegetables is okay, but it needs to be under so many grams of carbs. It needs to be ketovore. Steering away from carnivore and ketovore has made things difficult for me. It makes me have to figure more stuff out, and it deteriorated my health over a period of months or years. So I'm actually focused on getting back to, like I said before, I'm getting back to eating mostly meat, and I'm going to be sticking to carnivore as much as I can. Maybe carnivore in the future, but I got to get the sugar back out of my diet, because the more I test myself with sugar, the easier it is for me to give myself a break to just go ahead and have a little bit more sugar. And then next thing you know, I'm having problems getting around the house, and the neuropathy in my hands is incredibly difficult. My eyesight gets worse. So if you're having a hard time with carnivore or ketovore and you want some help or just some backup, you can leave a note below and I'll respond to any comments, any notes. And if I can help you, I would really like to do that. I hope you're having a great day. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.